Hello and welcome back to Introduction to Full Stack Web Development. So in this video, I'll be showing you some common elements such as headings and paragraphs, as well as some text formatting elements. First, a quick reintroduction to the head element. So like we said before, this contains metadata, and by that simply means data about data. Data about the web page. It contains relevant information such as required external links and information about the website, the keywords, and the language. It's always placed within the HTML element, right above the body element. We'll be returning to the head element from time to time, as most elements require some tinkering with it. So for now, let's just move on. Alright, now let's get started with the body. For the time being, I won't be showing how to style the elements yet. I'll just be showing how to create them. We'll be tackling it like this. We'll first of all touch the HTML aspect, then we'll dive into CSS, then we'll dive into JavaScript. While we're tackling the CSS, we'll be revisiting the HTML and I'll be showing how they work hand in hand. So for the time being, we're going to create some basic elements without much styling. So let's get started. First off, we have headings. So these are simply titles and subtitles for the web page. I'm going to split my screen so you can see what is going on now. Headings are defined by writing H1. The H1 tag you're seeing here, this is like heading 1. This is the most important heading. Then it runs all the way to H6. This is the least important. So once again, H1 the most important, there's H2, H3, H4, H5, then H6 is the least important. So as you can see in the example, their default sizes also change. The H1 is the largest, H2 slightly smaller, all the way down to H6. So note, although you can modify the text size, color, etc., you can actually make a H6 as big as a H1, but this is not advised because of SEO. And SEO simply stands for Search Engine Optimization. And simply put, SEO is how it makes your site more noticeable by search engines like Google. Search engines use the metadata information as well as some elements to determine if your website is relevant to a user's search. You know when you search something on Google and different results pop up. So all that is an accumulation of both the metadata info and the elements within the website. And the search engines use the H1 to know the major topic of that web page. So if you use a H6 or you just use a paragraph and then you now make it large, you just use it as your main title. When the search engine is running through your website, it won't see the H1, and that will also influence whether your website is going to be the first on the list or able to throw it all the way to the bottom of the list on page 20. So it's very important to know this. We'll still talk more about search engine optimization later on. I just want to emphasize this now. Always make sure your most important title is the H1. The second most important one is the H2. On and on like that, all the way to the H6. So picture in your mind a newspaper. The most important article, that will require a H1. The second most important one takes the H2, so on and so forth. So next up, we have paragraphs. And this is represented with the P tag. They always start on a new line. Paragraphs always start on a new line. And browsers automatically add margins before and after a paragraph. So keep this in mind. Browsers will automatically remove any extra spaces and lines when the page is displayed. So as you can see here, I'm going to demonstrate that. So you can see now, I've added some extra lines within my paragraph, but yet within the browser, it's showing something different. In VS Code, you can see it right here. There are spaces, but the browser is not acknowledging those spaces. So keep that in mind. So we can control this with the use of some elements such as horizontal row and line break. So you notice these two are empty elements. Once again, empty elements don't have content and they don't have closing tags. So horizontal row, HR, line break, BR. These two are empty elements. So horizontal row is used to separate content, as you can see. It's separating these two paragraphs I've created. It's separating them and it draws a line. That is the horizontal row. You can style it. We'll get into that later. Then while the line break, this one, rather than outside the element, you put it within your text element. In this case, is my paragraph. I'm going to put the line break there. And you can see it's going to move it to a new line starting from that point. It's going to break that line there and move every other content to a new line. So that is the horizontal row and the line break. Alright, so now let's create a basic web page with what we have learned today. I'm going to create a separate HTML file. This is simply so while we practice in one file, in the other file we can put together all we have done into a cohesive work. And please, once again, like I said, you'll be putting all of this in a folder. We'll be touching all these old documents later on, so don't delete them when you're done. As far as they're inside the folder you created for this tutorial series, just leave them in there. So now I've created a new file. In this new file, I'm going to create a heading, say Introduction to HTML. I'm going to create a paragraph under that heading. So in this paragraph now, I'm meant to write whatever inside here, but at the moment, I want to use this opportunity to introduce it to Lorem Ipsum. So basically, this is a generally used dummy text, and most text editors come with it by default. So if you just type Lorem in Visual Studio Code, you should see a drop down. When you click on it, it will create a dummy text for you right there. So for the time being, just use that as the dummy text, or you could type it yourself. You could just type in a quick paragraph. So under that, I'm going to create a horizontal row. Then after that, I'm going to create another heading, this time a H2, and I'm going to write summary. After that H2, I'm now going to create a paragraph for the summary. I'm now going to fill in some random text. You can also use a Lorem Ipsum, or you can type it yourself. So in between the text, like midway, I'm going to create a line break. If we check in our browser now, you can see the product of what we have done. And there we have it, our basic web page. At the moment, it doesn't look very fancy, but as we proceed, I'll show you how to make a simple page like this look very appealing. Alright, so that's it for this video. Thank you and see you in the next one. Alright, thank you for sticking by to the end. If you feel this video helped you, please drop a like and feel free to subscribe for future content. I also have a website and a Discord where I'll be dropping most of my free content, so check that out. Also feel free to support the channel on Ko-fi to aid the making of future assets and videos. Alright, that's all for now. See you in the next video.